Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video and another episode of my F1 2019 career mode here today for round 2 of season 3 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Guys, if you missed round 1 for the Australian Grand Prix, go watch it before we jump into any spoilers in this episode and get up to speed, while the season's fresh. So go watch Australia, guys. Click on the link in the top right hand corner of the screen to go watch that episode. But guys, we are here at Bahrain, and after a pretty decent opener in Australia, securing a P5 race finish, we arrive here around one of the stronger tracks for the AI, and this track, China and Baku, 3 very strong tracks for the AI, and it was important to get that good result in Australia because I think we're going to struggle to score decent points, I think, in these next 3 races, especially China and Baku. But in terms of this weekend, no rain expected and no R&D upgrades for anybody on the grid, which is relatively good news. Obviously, in the last episode, if you guys remember and watched until the end, we did actually purchase a ultimate engine upgrade, so that's going to arrive for Baku, and hopefully in the meantime we can try and add some more upgrades in that time leading up to that race. So hopefully come Spain, the European season, we should have a pretty damn decent car already, and like I said, we're not going to show no signs of stopping with the R&D. We're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing because it is my target to win the championship with Ferrari, and I want to try and do that this season. I'm giving it absolutely everything, and I'm hoping it pays off. But here we are then in qualifying at Bahrain, and after practice we're running 106% AI right here, which is what I ran last season, and it was about the right difficulty. It seemed about right. The qualifying sims looked pretty decent. We had okay pace, and to be expected, the stronger cars were very, very quick around here. The Renaults, the Red Bulls, really, really quick. Then you got the kind of the Haas and the Williamses just a little bit further behind, and then it's McLaren, Ferrari, Racing Point kind of battling away there. So there's a good mix all across the field. Mercedes as well, of course, in that pack as well with us, and the Red Bulls and the Renaults are a class above everybody else here already. So it's going to be quite an interesting one, and we'll see how we get on. First of all, in Q1, you can see here as we hit the track underneath the beautiful illuminated circuit of Bahrain here in the twilight. We're currently on our first lap of this run, and I say this run because I was always going to do 2 laps in this run, and actually because fuel and ERS is so efficient now on my car, I'm actually going to do a back-to-back lap. So we're going to finish our first lap and go straight again on another lap. So first of all, we're going to see how this first one ends. Currently we are down quite a bit on Lewis Hamilton, who currently sets the pace in the Red Bull, the man who won the opening race in Australia. And as we come towards the end of our first lap here with 7.5 minutes to go, we go P16, 2.4 off the pace, and just on the cusp of elimination there. So we need to try and improve the P15 at least to get through into Q2. So once again, I kept on, didn't slow down, pushed on with my second lap, and we actually set a personal best first sector, only by just a fraction. And now down towards sector 2, we actually found some more time, nearly 2 tenths up here as we finished sector 2, 1.3 down on Lewis Hamilton. And generally speaking, sector 1 was okay. I was losing about 7 to 8 tenths through sector 2, and then nearly a second through sector 3. But overall, sectors 2 and 3, I was losing a lot of time overall, but a little bit more in sector 3 in most of my runs. But you can see here towards the end of my second lap, we're about 2 tenths up here. Will it be enough to get us into P15 or above? And no, it's not. We're still in P16, 2.1 off the pace, and our first run comes to an end. It's going to be a rare second run in Q1 with a fresh set of tyres, which is something I never really do, but we kind of need to because we're down to P17 now and we need to improve. So straight away, sector 1, we found about nearly 2 tenths of a second. Absolutely going for it now. There's hardly no fuel in the car and it's all or nothing on this lap. Towards the end of sector 2, we found another couple of tenths and about 3 tenths up on this lap. Looking pretty good so far. About a second down on Lewis Hamilton, which is not too bad after 2 sectors, but we lose a lot of time in this final one, even though there's only 2 corners to it. Going to the final corner now, locking up the front right ever so slightly on the power, and then now up to the line, opening up the DRS, and let's see what this lap is. Will it be enough to get us through? We jump up into P15 with literally 5 seconds to go, so we've done what we can. We're inside the 2-second window. Will it be enough to get us through? And unfortunately for us, luckily for us, it is enough. I thought we was going to get knocked out, but luckily for us, it is enough, and we do manage to just get through and beat Lance Stroll in the Racing Point. Daniel Ricciardo only P13, and we were only a tenth behind my own teammate. So generally, it seems to be the case that we are struggling in the Ferrari here this weekend, both myself and Daniel. And you can see here, this was my first run in Q2. I was using one of the used sets from Q1, and I didn't enjoy it one bit. It was a really scruffy run, a lot of missed apexes, a lot of lockups. You saw there at turn 4 running really, really wide. And then just to, add insult to injury, we actually ran just a fraction wider here and picked up an invalidation. And we're 2.4 down on Sebastian Vettel after 2 sectors. So a miserable run. I finished the lap anyway just to get a reference delta time for my final one. But this is going to be a big lap here. My last set of fresh soft tyres. We're going to absolutely give it everything and see if the lap is enough. Straight away looking at turn 1, you're looking for the 100 meter ball, you want to brake just before that. Normally with a default car you can brake at the 100 meter ball, but these cars are very quick now in Season 3, so you have to brake a little bit earlier. As we now get the power nice and smoothly out of 2 through turn 3, DRS open as we now go up towards turn 4. Once again looking for the 100 meter ball brake as the curve appears on the left hand side. Try and turn in the apex, try and keep it in third gear if you can. You can avoid getting the wheel spin. And so far so good. 2 turns down on Vettel. That's a pretty good first sector from me as we throw the car through 5, 6 and 7. Now down towards the hairpin here at turn 8. Trying to use first gear to pick up the rotation smoothly on the power. A little bit of oversteer on the exit, which isn't ideal. And now down towards turn 9, which feeds into turn 10. Very easy to lock up here. You want to try and focus on the apex. And that was a pretty nice run through there. Nice and tidy, no lockups. And very tidy and smooth on the power input on the exit as we now go on the back straight, using up the overtake mode as we now go towards the next left-hander, braking at the 100 meter board once again, trying to get the power as soon as possible. You want to try and avoid hitting that curb if possible on the right hand side. And now flat out through the right as sector 2 draws to a close, and they're about a second down on Sebastian here through sector 2 as we now go towards the final sector.
30 seconds left in the session.
We pick up a bit of a track extend there. Luckily for me, I didn't get validated on my last run. But one more corner to go here. It's all about just throwing the car in and trying to get that good exit. We actually hit the curb a little bit, which isn't ideal. You want to try and get a smooth bit of traction. But overall, a decent final sector and a decent lap overall. And it's only good enough for P14. 1.9 off the pace. We dropped 9/10 of a second in sector 3 alone, which was quite weird. We pretty much lost. We had a second down in the second sector, and we dropped pretty much double in just one sector alone, which was quite concerning. But yeah, Ricardo P13, we got P14, and maybe I think there was a better sector 3 in there. To be honest, I think that was a little bit weak from my end, but still we lost a chunk of time. And yeah, overall, I can't say much. It is what it is. That's the pace of the car, and that's where we are. So P14 for us in qualifying. Hopefully we can try and do better in the race tomorrow on the fresh set of tyres and a different strategy. With that being said, it's time for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's do this.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Bahrain has showed us many times in the past though, Anthony Davidson, that a good strategy will only take you so far. Beyond that, you need good racecraft and you need good consistency.
And a little bit of luck too, I'd say. This is one of those circuits where the safety car always seems to come out just at the right time to condense the field together and mix up the cars on different strategies. It's hard on brakes, it's tough on fuel, and the main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1, where it's easy to outbrake your opponent and potentially have a bit of argy-bargy as well.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Devon Butler put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Weber, Hamilton, Charles Leclerc and Perez, Vettel, Magnussen, Russell and Kimi Raikkonen, Sainz, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, Martinez, Bottas, Stroll, Alexander Albon and Max Verstappen. Kvyat and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so here we are then on the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix. P14 after, as you guys saw, pretty okay qualifying. I mean, we didn't really do anything wrong, just we don't have the pace. Simple as that. We've got Ricciardo alongside us, and it kind of summarises where the car's pace truly is. And we can hopefully only go forwards in this race and not backwards, and try and push on, because this track seems to be very reliant/dependent on where your car is in the R&D graph. So in our case, we're quite a way off the nearest car, Mercedes, and a little bit further back from McLaren and Williams. Therefore, it's kind of accurate and it's kind of translated to that in terms of qualifying. So we've got a tricky sneaky one on our hands, but you know what? The strategy might play a big effect into this. We're going to start the race in the mediums, go into the hard tyres and do the one-stop. Avoid the softs. The one-stop are a lot quicker than the two-stopper around here. And fuel-wise, we're going to run one extra lap of fuel. And I think that could be the key here. The objective in this race for both myself and Daniel is to try and get past those cars in front of us on the exact same strategy as us getting the free choice of tyres. So the 2 cars in front of us, and I believe one more in front of them. So yeah, that's the target, and try and be the lead car on the free choice of tyre, and hopefully that will pay dividends for us later on in the race. But let's jump into it. Let's see how we get on. Let's see if we can try and score some decent points here, and that's the target. Just try and get a top 10 finish, to be honest, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. With that being said, it's time for round 2 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Let's get to work. Right, here we go then. Let's build up the revs and get ready for the 5 red lights here at Bahrain. Lights out and away we go. Pretty good start actually for once. Very good start to Sam on a slow tyre. Down towards turn 1 we do get jumped by Bottas. A little bit of debris there coming off the McLaren as we go down the inside of Danny Rick. Into turn 1. Outside for turn 2 on Rick Bobby. We are going to just get past and make the move on my teammate. Out towards turn 4. They are going very slow. We're going to go around the outside of both McLarens, possibly. No, just the one it seems. We're going to go on the outside of Lando Norris, but Norris trying to hang it in there on the inside line. We're going to have to leave some space. Probably left too much space there, but we're going to go for it. We're going to put the squeeze on him. But Norris back down the inside here. Side by side with my fellow countrymen, but we are going to get the traction around the outside. Norris trying to go the long way round into turn 10, which is not a usual overtaking opportunity, especially around the outside. And eventually we make the move. There we go, up to P12. Good start on the mediums, being aggressive. We've only got to get past Carlos Sainz. And then we're going to be in sync and the lead medium tyre runner in this race. So that's good. Let's try and settle into this race, see if we have any pace. I think we'll be better off in race trim than in qualifying. I always have been around this track. Race on Sunday seems to be okay if I can find my rhythm and find consistency with the tyre that I'm using. So let's see how we get on. There's a free wide here up front, which should be quite interesting. But like we did it recently in Australia in the last race, we're not going to feed into too many battles. We're just going to focus on our own races. Ricciardo gets stuck in with Lando Norris behind. We're just going to try and do our own race and try and keep pace with those in front of us on the slower tyre. Well, Ricciardo's made the move on Norris, so far we're doing good here in the race. Ferrari seems to be working a bit better in race trim. Sainz still in front of us, but we're going to try and see if we can close the gap now and start to make some moves, maybe get past him, because I don't want to make many overtakes because we're going to lose time. But if there's one car I want to get past, it is the McLaren because of strategy purposes. So it's important we get ahead of the Spaniard. So let's try and hunt down Carlos here and make a move. There'll be DRS available in the next lap, but we won't get it until the back straight. So we're just going to have to try and do raw slipstream from now and hope that does the job. I was hoping to be on the back of Carlos this lap, but we're not really close enough. As the purple laps start to go in, and DRS will now be enabled on this lap.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
It does seem like it was Norris that McLaren had picked up some light wing damage at turn 1, so he's dropping back. Ricciardo's comfortably behind us with no cars challenging him, which is good, as we get DRS and Carlos Sainz here. So let's try and see if we can bunch up and start making some moves as a team now. This race is just a DRS fest at the minute, and a slipstream fest. That's why Ricciardo can't really catch up, which is a good and a bad thing. I'd like my teammate to be with me at this stage of the season, but I also want to beat my teammate. But yeah, overall we're just kind of hanging in there. I want to see if I can maybe make a move on Sainz soon, but we are lacking a little bit of pace, I can't lie, compared to the McLaren. It does feel like we don't really have the edge, kind of like qualifying, so we're just kind of hanging in there for now. Okay, Sainz has dropped off the Williams cars in front a little bit here. This might be my first chance to make a move on the McLaren. All I could do is get a good exit at the final corner, which I don't really get that. A little bit of oversteer, having to wait to put the power down, but we have got the run here, personal best, and look at the speed. We're going to power past the McLaren, and we're finally going to get past. Now, can we hang on to the cars in front, who are battling, both Williams cars? If we can get within their DRS and stay there, that would be great from our race. Now, Sainz is going to maybe try and return the favour. We don't have DRS here, so we're going to be a little bit defenceless up towards turn 4, but we are going to stay in front. So that's good. We're now the lead medium tyre runner on this strategy, which is good. That's where we need to be. Now I've got to try and keep Sainz behind for the rest of the race, which is not going to be easy, but it is doable. Let's see if we can try and hang on to these Williams cars. You can see on the minimap the Red Bull starting to put some serious distance between themselves and the rest of the competition. The Renaults seemingly struggling to get through traffic, and the Red Bulls are taking full advantage of that as they start to open up a gap here. Red Bull setting purple laps now into the 128s, the low 128s. Serious pace. We're on for another personal best here. Sainz has got the run though. We might have to go defensive into turn 1. Yeah, we're going to have to go defensive. And just show them the long way around. As the Mercedes now start to fall down the order a bit into these battles. It should be okay to actually not have to turn the engine up here and stay in front of Carlos. But the battling begins. Those Mercedes are vulnerable, so let's try and get after them. The race is also starting to come to me as well. I can feel the medium starting to come into its own, and the soft tyre runner starting to struggle a little bit. Got to say the car does feel a lot better in race pace. These medium tyres feel great, and the setup, even though I was struggling a bit in low fuel qualifying mode, seems to be very strong with heavy fuel and race pace, which is good. Really helped me out in this first part of the race, which is good. We managed to just hang on to DRS, which is important. Hopefully the moves will start to happen soon. Okay, there we go. Cars into the pit lane. The first one is towards Russell and the Williams to bite the bullet. That's quite an aggressive strategy as Raikkonen goes for the move on the Mercedes. They could be slow out of turn 2 and turn 3. Looks like the Mercedes hangs on for now. We don't have the DRS surprisingly. And look at that, they're both still going side by side here. Will Raikkonen get it this time on the inside line possibly? It's close, side by side still. Someone's going to lose out big time here. The Mercedes goes around the outside. Kimi's still hanging in there. As we start to put the pressure on now from behind. They're still side by side. But the Mercedes just takes it. Or not, Raikkonen's coming back at him. That Williams, very quick on the straight. Pierre Gasly holding the inside line. Kimi runs deep. That's going to put him on the back foot as we pick the traction. We're going to get past the Williams. There we go. We're going to get the run on Pierre as well. We're going to send Pierre defensive into the left-hander. And that's when we put the pressure on with this medium tyre. The fresher rubber. A little bit of dirty air there to get off the gas mid-corner. Really picking up some serious understeer there with the dirty air as we get the run on Pierre here. Then we go to the inside line of the Frenchman into the final corner. We're going to squeeze him onto the curb, make the move. There we go. DRS for us, perfectly timed. Cars in the pit lane, and we jump up to P4. That is how you make a move right there. Just perfectly timed, to be honest. As Sainz makes the move on Gasly as well. This is going to allow me to break away from the McLaren and start to pull away. So let's try and use this to open up a gap. Okay, the remaining soft tyre runners pit in. So we're going to inherit the race lead for a little while. Looks like they're going aggressive with the 2-stop, another set of soft tyres for them as we take first place in the Bahrain Grand Prix. So it's probably going to be soft, medium for the AI. So we're going to be at disadvantage now for the rest of the race. Even when we're on the hards at the end, we're going to be at disadvantage, so it's important to be strong on these laps now, on the overcut, if you will.
Okay, some information on Raikkonen. They've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
First time of the race, Kimi Raikkonen in the Williams on the back straight. Seems like reliability issues striking early this season, because we had some of that in the last race with Leclerc retiring already after the first race. So again, that's going to help us out, which is good news. 27.5 there from Lucas Weber. About 2 seconds a lap quicker than me. And about the same with Sainz, but that's fair enough. He is on a fresh soft tyre, so
Caution.
to be expected as we approach Raikkonen's.
Someone's come up ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
Yeah, that's Raikkonen's car. Got good pace though. The car feels good on these tyres still. I feel confident. And the faster cars are going to have to get through Sainz first, so that's going to buy me more time to pull away from the McLaren. Personal best. Good pace. Weber 2.1 behind. Let's try and keep him behind.
Be advised moving to mix 2. Fuel to mix 2.
Look at that, the Red Bull's actually going at it. Having a battle. Lewis trying to get past his teammate, which is good for me because it's going to buy me time and take the pressure off from behind. Weber stays in front of his teammate for now, but for how much longer? Okay, I should be okay here. I'm going to turn the engine up just to stay in front of Weber into the final corner. But I'm going to give Lewis a chance to get past him here as we're going to pit in. So there we go, good stint, good first stint, very good stuff. Now we've got to get all slowed down, there we go, that's a perfect pit entry. And there's Sainz staying out for one more lap, interesting. He's going to lose time to Sebastian Vettel, come on boys, good stop, here we go.
Go now.
Great stop, 1.896, fantastic pit stop. Onto the hard tyres, we pulled away at the perfect time, and we're going to the end of the race in these tyres now. So we've done our bit. Can we rejoin in P10? No we can't, Russell's going to get by at least.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
So Russell gets in front, so we're down to P11 here. Daniel Kvyat behind us in the Toro Rosso. On nice toasty tyres, but probably used. I believe he started the race on those, starting towards the back of the grid. So we're going to stay in front. Now Russell's on a 2-stop, so he's going to be on fresh medium, so he should have the pace on me here. So let's just try and stick with him, and that'd be good enough for me. That'd be a good pace. Let's also have a strong out lap to stay in front of Carlos Sainz. Of course, we'll stay up for one more lap. Okay then, Ricciardo's in the pit lane. Anybody else in there with him on the medium tyres? Yes, Carlos Sainz, there he is, leaving the pit lane now. They both go to the hard tyre, like myself, so we're now back up to P9. So there we go then, job done, strategy's worked out beautifully. Now let's try and hold on to this position and not concede to Sainz or Ricciardo. Personal best, good pace on the hard tyre. If we can keep that up for the whole stint, that'd be great. Good pace from us this lap. Into the 128s, very good lap there. So they're closing the pit lane, so we're going to jump up to 8th place now. This is good pace from us. Okay, we've got a couple more cars in the pit lane. Devon Butler in there, along with Magnussen and also Sergio Perez in the Renault. We're going to briefly take P5 in this race. Surprisingly ahead of one of the Renaults, but it won't be for long. Perez on fresh mediums, he will quickly be at the back of me. Okay, George Russell pits in, so that's going to release us into P4 now. Looks like Sebastian Vettel's just rejoined the track in the Renault, so looks like this is the best and the highest we'll be in the entire race now, P4, so we'll probably drop down P5 inevitably once Perez gets past. So we're going to be defending probably P5 for this race, and defending from Charles Leclerc later on as Perez starts to gain momentum and gain pace on me here. Here comes Sergio, he's going to go for the move down the inside. I'm going to back off a little bit early on the brakes and do the wily old Fox move. So I pick up the RS, so that way I don't lose much time and I can make up for it on the straight, because that Renault is very quick in terms of straight line speed, so we'll be able to hang in there and hopefully use the RS on the next straight as well. Perez goes defensive slightly, but we're not going to attack because it's a losing battle. And we'll get the RS again here up the hill towards turn 4, which is good. So that will minimise the amount of time lost. We're actually a tenth to 2 tenths up on our personal best here, which is good. A better lap from me there. Using the DRS from the first sector, we improved to a 28.4, finding nearly half second on that lap. Leclerc's 3 seconds behind. We're going to start monitoring that gap now and try and defend from the Haas car. Very strong pace for me here. I'm really running at a very happy race pace. Car's working fantastically well. If I hadn't broke my personal best 2 laps ago, these last 2 laps would have been personal bests without DRS, so the pace is good. Let's try and keep it that way. Leclerc's closing in between 6 tenths to a second a lap, so he should be on the back of me by the end of next lap, I think. Okay, Leclerc's now within 1 second. I've managed to stick with the 28.7s every single lap. Very strong pace from me. But Leclerc will now have DRS on this zone here, and they'll probably be really close to me coming into the lap, so let's get ready to defend. I've got a little bit of fuel in the RS left over. I haven't used it all just in case. I reckon I can keep Leclerc behind for this race. I think I can do it if I play my cards right. A bit of oversteer there. That might just give Leclerc the run. Down towards turn 1 here, we're going to have to go defensive. Or not actually, we should be okay. I'm just going to play it safe. I'll go defensive. The AI in this game now are not afraid of going for a dive from a little bit further back, so I'm just going to play it safe. Good traction there, good exit out of 1, 2 and 3. So we don't have to turn the engine up here. Up towards turn 4, I'm going to try and save some fuel while I can, because we're running out. Leclerc's close. He's going to get the run here. I'm going to show him the long way around. Trying to brake earlier there to pick up the DRS. Leclerc around the outside. He doesn't get the traction on the curb. Seems like he's got DRS as he has, so we're going to have to try and hang in there with our own engine power. Here we go, we're gaining with the slipstream. I'm going to try and go for the re-overtake down the inside. Into turn 1. Very nice move there. Comfortable re-overtake. Late on the brakes. and we get DRS as well, which is good. So we should be okay up towards turn 4, though Leclerc seemingly turning the engine up himself. We're going to have to defend a little bit, but there we go. Job done. We're staying in front for yet another lap. Still got a long way to go. Here comes Leclerc again. I'm going to cover the inside. This time I'm not going to let it hang around the outside if I can avoid it. There we go. Make him have a bit of a poor exit as a consequence. He'll have another go at me though on the straight. Here he comes. We're going to have to go defensive again here.
Going off the sim data, we expect you're going to start feeling the effect of tyre wear around about now. Let us know if it gets too bad.
Side by side, around the outside, we just hang on. But Leclerc's not going to give up there. We're going to have to go defensive again. We've got DRS, but that Haas is really carrying some serious speed. We're going to be hot on the brakes here. It's a turn 4. That's going to allow Leclerc to go on the switchback. Side by side. Can we come back at him? Very close to losing a front wing there, but we're still hanging in there. I could go for the lunge, but I don't really have the confidence or the tyres for it. Leclerc may have just executed the overtake to perfection. Let's try and follow him. I think I can stick with him, I think. Those mediums will be starting to fade a little bit now. Oh no, damn it, I've just seen Ricciardo. Just saw that on the map, Ricciardo retires, which is odd because this car is very reliable, so it must be a random failure for my teammate Danny Rick. So Rick Bobby out of the race, unfortunately for us. It was looking like a double points finisher again. But that's out of the question. Meanwhile, Leclerc really getting a move on here. I'm struggling to hang on. He seems to have turned the engine up. So for now, we're going to focus on staying in front of his teammate Kevin Magnussen. Very late on the brakes there, hoping to pick up the DRS. Yes, we do. We just hang on. It was worth the risk. Let's try and stick with Leclerc, try and burn up a bit of our battery if we can. Okay, that's that. We've lost DRS. We held it for the entire lap through all 3 DRS zones, but we've now dropped out. We are on for a personal best though, going on to the last lap of the race. So we should be okay to bring this one home ahead of Kevin Magnussen, who's 2.5 behind us. Here we go then, last lap of the race now. And going into sector 3, Lucas Weber's going to win, and he's going to return the favour to his own teammate. Hamilton won the opener, Weber wins the second race as our DRS goes offline. The Renaults though, ending the race very strong, setting purple laps, both of them, one after the other on the last lap. As we're going to bring home a fantastic, and to be fair, kind of unexpected P6. Really strong pace, strategy was perfect, we had some good battles and I enjoyed that. So grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari, grande lavoro, grazie.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly well-deserved win. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Right, so here we have the final race results here at Bahrain. Lucas Weber picking up the win, 1/10 of a second ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Extremely close. Both of them were so close the entire race, battling all the way through, and he just nicks it by 1/10 of a second. Sebastian Vettel 1.3 behind, and then Perez 6.8, and Sergio picking up the fast lap of the race across the line. So again, those two teams very close at the minute, very evenly matched, and that's going to be a big battle this season, I think, between those two. Charles Leclerc P5 and Haas really as a whole, they've struggled over the winter. They've dropped back a little bit, and they're no longer really a top tier team. They're kind of bridging the gap between midfield and top teams, and they've got McLaren and Williams not too far behind them. But yeah, Leclerc P5, we come home in a fantastic P6. We didn't really have the pace. You can see by the fastest lap, we did the best we could, and I'm really happy with that one. A really good race. The car was good, nice and consistent in the race, and much better than in qualifying. The car felt fantastic, which is great. Kevin Magnussen P7, Carlos Sainz in 8th, and then we've got Russell and Bottas running out the top 10. Both Mercedes actually missing out on the points, and towards the bottom of the table, Kimi Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo, both retired from the race. My teammate, of course. Very unfortunate and quite surprising considering our car's very reliable, so it must have been some random failure, and yeah, very unfortunate. But in terms of the standings, we are currently P5. Lewis Hamilton leads the way by 6 points over his teammate, and we've got Perez and Vettel 3rd and 4th, not too far behind. That top 4 covered by 13 points. It's going to be very close all season long, and we're holding P5 here at the minute, ahead of Charles Leclerc, which is good. And Daniel Ricciardo P11 with that DNF just drops out the top 10. In terms of the constructors, we still hold 3rd place, and we are 6 points ahead of Haas going into the next race at China, and the gap already starting to build between ourselves and pretty much the rest of the pack between Renault and Red Bull. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Haas are going to probably overtake us soon, unless we pick up, a few points here and there. But yeah, we're going to jump into the laptop. We've already got one ultimate engine upgrade on the way for Baku. We're going to add to that right now. Hopefully, if we have enough points, I'll try and do 2 chassis upgrades. If not, it'll just be the one. So let's jump into the laptop.
Lucas seems to have hit his stride with that win. What's changed since the last race? Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today? Appreciate your time.
Okay, so here we are then on the R&D screen, and we have 1,700 points to spend, and it's a little bit more than I expected, because if you look at the contract, we actually hit our target of the team goal, which is 8 practice programs. We've done 10 out of the 8, therefore we've got an extra 600 points to spend, which is going to enable us to do a little bit more upgrading than originally scheduled. So the aero is, at one point it was our strong point, we're now 4th from bottom, and we'll get to that soon, but the chassis needs work. We are the 2nd from bottom team, and we need to improve desperately. So we're going to go straight to it here and invest. We're going to buy both of these minor upgrades because we need to improve here straight away, and that should take us above Toyota Honda. And we're going to have 370 points left over, which we'll keep, and we'll try and add to that in the next episode. And what we'll do in the next episode is probably maybe buy this major one here, which is 1,000 points. I think that's doable. And that would give us a big boost in the chassis department. And then I'll see if I can afford maybe one more minor one. Maybe these two will be like the next 2 upgrades. And once these 2 are done, we're going to turn our attention to the aero, because obviously going into like Monaco, we're going to want to have a better aero package. So we'll try and do some aero work later on down the line. The power unit is looking okay. We've got an ultimate engine upgrade on the way, which will put us on par with Renault. So we haven't got to worry about that for now. We can take some time off with the engine and not have to worry about improving here too much. And even if we need to, we've got some big upgrades available to us in terms of performance to get that boost we need. So that will come eventually, but for now we're going to focus on the chassis first, and then a little bit of aero work. As you can tell by the graph at the bottom of the screen, the engine's looking pretty damn good. But yeah, we've got a big amount of upgrades on the way already. You can see 3 of them in the works, and I'm looking forward to the future. I think we're very quickly going to get past Mercedes and McLaren. I think we're going to keep pushing on and hopefully push towards them top 4 teams, and hopefully eventually those top 2 teams. But guys, that is it for this episode of Career Mode. If you did enjoy it, then drop a like, guys, and also get subscribed if you are new for daily Formula 1 content. I'd greatly appreciate it. And also check out these 2 videos on your screen if you are new, guys, that haven't seen them. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.